Hello everyone, welcome to Jenkins Weekly Infrastructure Team Meeting. Today we are the 9 December 2025 and around the virtual table we have myself, Damien Duportal, Mark Waite, Bruno Verharten and Hervé Lemeur. Okay, let's get started let me remove the comment on the shared notes on the screen. Okay, let's get started with announcements. First section, the Jenkins weekly releases. So last week we were able to release 2.540 successfully, no issue. Yep, the double L. I will never learn this one. Thanks, Mark. Everything went smooth last week. So that release was featuring many things, but on our side, the interesting part is the new staging per branch. Let me rephrase. Per branch, but per line. You cannot stage two branches that are both on weekly or two different branches on LTS area. Just mentioning that because while reviewing with Daniel Beck for security advisories, he said that we had in the past, and I remember this, where we were backporting a security fix to two LTS line at the same time, and in such case, order matter. You have to start with the older one and then use the most recent one, and you have to go until you get to weekly. But weekly and LTS can be staged in parallel with no problem because they use different files, different indexes. So per branch is a lie, but that's good enough. And as soon as everyone is aware of that, that means I have to write a proper run book, and yeah, that's all. That also featured what I call a fix, which is not a fix. The OpenSUSE user on the weekly line, since that release have proper instruction or new instruction that are following the same pattern as what we do with Red Hat now for the unified RPM, where we make sure that auto refresh is enabled. In fact, auto refresh was enabled in the past, but in certain conditions, depending on the command, and if the user talked about the -F flag to the zipper command, depending on the operating system policies and the version online of Jenkins, the merge of all of these could have auto refresh still set to disabled, even if specified as enabled. So with the instruction, we prioritize our own Jenkins.repo file, the repository descriptor, same as what we did on Red Hat many years ago. So now if you download the repo file and run the zipper command, you will have everything you want. So that problem has been fixed by documentation. I haven't seen any feedback from the user, but yeah, instructions are there, which mean Mark and Bruno, we can push to the documentation SIG group that now we can start documenting the instruction to install OpenSUSE inside Jenkins IO instead of packages. The interest for us is that as soon as this page has been published, we can remove all that, let's say, magic at the generate HTML file in the infrastructure and instead link to the always up-to-date documentation. Now, that being said, are there any questions about last weekly release?
Thank you. Thanks. That's all. No question. Just serious gratitude. You did a great job on that code. Thank you.
We'll see that tomorrow, just to be sure. Maybe that will break everything. Let's see. About tomorrow, that's now public and official. We have a security advisory that will happen tomorrow that will cover the weekly line and the LTS line. So today, we don't have a weekly release. Jenkins 2.541 will be released tomorrow as part of the advisory. But it will be staged today, if everything works as expected. That's all for the weekly releases. Are there...
I
Oh,
would
sorry.
even
Yep.
say it differently. It will be staged today, and whether or not things work perfectly, it will be staged today. We'll figure out what it takes to stage it today, right?
Very
I'm pretty sure the security team will keep us, more specifically, Damien, busy if there's a problem, or others, and get their help so that we get it staged today somehow.
Thanks. And the announcement part. Unless there is something else to discuss about weekly releases. One, two, three. Nope. Okay. Um, First, yep, the return of the infamous DDoS. Yes, we closed the issue, and the Sunday right after, someone DDoS CI Jenkins IO. What a surprise for a public project. So, yep. Um, Proposal pushed by Hervé last time, and again, reminder here, and I totally agree and support that. It's time to get back on enabling logging on CI Jenkins. Of course, that will have impact since it used to be our flagship. That means we will have some work to do on weekly CI Jenkins IO to make it a better looking like flagship with real life data. But that's a problem for tomorrow. The problem for today is A, let's avoid being DDoSed and all of our AWS credits consumed. So we have an issue. So, yep, Mark.
Actually, you just said something that worried me. I hadn't thought of that. It's not just that they're wasting our time with delays. We are charged for bandwidth that they consume, aren't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, oh boy. Yeah, okay. So it's another motivation for it because bandwidth charges are just wasting Jenkins money servicing somebody that's not helping the Jenkins project at all. Okay, great. Thank you.
Unless the attacker is a cloud provider that can provide us for free credits and free bandwidth. In that case, I wouldn't mind. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Although since most of the attacks have seemed to come from Alibaba and that sort of area, yeah, okay, fair.
so yep. So we have the issue that you opened for the incident, Mark, since we closed the previous one. Um, I will discuss with Hervé later if it's worth create. I believe it will be worth to create a dedicated issue, just to say, oh, let's enable logging in with CI. Here are the pros and cons, and in the pro, we won't suffer from this and this and this. So that will be separated issue. Any other question on that announcement? The usual weekly trigger time. Mark, I don't know if you had time to discuss with him, not, or if we delay or if we keep the subject.
Let's see. So I'm just preparing the message now, embarrassing, and I'm sending it now. Yes, it's taken me
No
multiple
pressure.
weeks. I'm just sending it to the Jenkins developer mailing list so that everybody sees that we're asking for it.
Cool,
Sent.
thanks.
Sorry, it's taken only 4 weeks of it being my action item to finally get it done.
It's the end of the year. Everyone is busy here. No worries. Um, just a reminder that we are not at our peak of performances in terms of team velocity because Jay is off this week and for 2 other weeks. He will be back in the virtual office on 29 December. And Mark Hervé and I will be off for 2 weeks for the Christmas and end of year last week. Infra roadmap, not moved. Still the same status as last week. So no need to spend too much time on it unless you want to add something. We still have 3 issues that need to be created not in the roadmap, but still in that area. And Hervé and I, we still have to think about how do we make the roadmap better and up to date. It's more or less up to date, but it might benefit from minor upgrades. The priority still is pkg.origin migration. That's the top priority. The second thing is Kubernetes 1.33. That's almost done. That let's say we are halfway. So, and the rest of the roadmap is not wrong. So I guess it's okay to keep it for now. Finally, I have one last topic. I have a meeting next week during this team meeting. So I'm asking the question, can we reschedule? And if not, then can someone can take care of leading it instead of me?
As you want. Both for both.
Um, Let me check if we can make it.
On the one hand, I'm happy to lead it, or Hervé's happy. It sounds like Hervé was happy to lead it. and then we keep it at the same time. That I suspect that might be easier than rescheduling it, but
Mhm.
I'm okay with either.
Okay, so that means I won't attend, but that could be a great exercise. Since I asked Hervé earlier today to help me on the notes preparation, and there were missing permission, so that could be a great exercise. A bit earlier than I would have anticipated, but in fact, it's good enough. What do you think, Hervé?
Yeah, good for me.
If
Great.
the two of you are pairing in for leading and generating notes, that should be good enough.
Yeah, yeah. That unless there's something you know that you must be in attendance next week, I'd say let's keep the same time
Mhm.
just for ease, and we'll run it with who can be there.
That's good for me.
Great.
Thanks, folks. Are there any other announcements you want to ping, discuss, exchange? Yep, okay. Let's have a look at the upcoming calendar then. So tomorrow we will have Jenkins
Oh,
2.541. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
on that note, LTS baseline selection is tomorrow as well.
Oh,
So that is it's a subset of this same topic, but LTS baseline selection is tomorrow. And since tomorrow's release is a security release, it's predictable that we're going to choose 2.541 as the baseline. Otherwise, we have to backport the security fix to whatever baseline we select. And the yeah, so and the actual release will be the release candidate will be January 7, uh, LTS January, the final release January 21.
uh,
I can put it in, Damien. Don't
yep,
don't worry about
no
it.
worries. No, yep, but that's good to have. We'll see. Okay. So on the weekly tomorrow we have 2.541 and next week on 16 2.542. Tomorrow is also new LTS.3. We expect that LTS to be the last one without the unified RPM between Red Hat and OpenSUSE, but still it will use staging and it will be the first LTS release without package generation happening on a PKG VM, which means PKG will move to Azure this week or next week. And in January, the next LTS version will have everything that comes from Weekly automatically. So I don't have anything else to add on this one. Any question on the weekly LTS planning? Okay, cool, thanks. So security release, I've put the link, no need to add more information here. Upcoming credential, I missed one last week. On 7 December, all of our Terraform credential expired, which means none of the Terraform project can run successfully since the 7th. We have fixed a few ones to unblock Hervé on the Kubernetes 1.33 upgrade that happened yesterday, but there are others that are still failing. DigitalOcean, Fastly, AzureNet, etc. So that's a good exercise for the team to see what kind of permission are required, but it's a bit slower than usual and a bit frustrating, but we will get there. That's a good way to document and do a state of the art of what permission are required where. The goal is to have Hervé, because Jay is off, to do as much as possible in the area of, okay, what are the safe one, the easy one, and what are the one that could require more work or more elements. So sorry for that, I missed that one. We could have avoided builds failing. No production impact, except we cannot update things in Terraform immediately. 2 days before Christmas, we will have free usual rotation to perform on file system or access to Azure API. So this one, I guess, Hervé, you should be able to do them next week because then you will be in holidays, and I will be. These require only access to Azure and eventually trusted, but first Cloudflare and then these ones. The goal again is to see if I'm the bus factor here or not. Any objection on this one?
None from me.
Um,
That sounds great.
One that require, thanks, Hervé, just to see your acknowledgement. Last day of the year, Artifactory RPU token expire. That one I cannot delegate, at least not to Hervé or someone from the team, because it required to be administrator of Artifactory. So that means Daniel, Darin, and or I will have to take care of it. Given I will be in paternity leave beginning next year. Are there any objection if for one time I use 6 months instead of 3 months on this one?
No problem. And would you like me to pair with you on that when you do it, or is it not
Yep,
necessary to pair? I'm happy to pair. I know I don't want Artifactory admin permissions. I
mhm,
absolutely do not want them. It's not that I can't have them. I don't want them. But I'm happy to look over your shoulder while we do it together so I can learn.
yep, makes sense. And we could record, so if we don't show, uh, because I used to have Stefan pairing with me on this one, since it's a sensitive one. That's okay for you, Mark. So in case it has to be done in the upcoming 6 months, then we can ask Daniel or Darin to only generate the token and encrypt it somewhere with GPG, and the rest can be done on trusted CI by anyone else, including Hervé and you, Mark. Okay, so I will schedule a session with you this week or next week, Mark, based on our availabilities for this one. Any question on this one in particular?
Yeah, maybe depending
Yes?
on the time, but maybe put me in that session too.
Yep,
I like that. I think
good
that's a good
point. Yeah,
idea.
good idea.
Having us talk about what it means to administer Artifactory is good, even if we aren't Artifactory administrators. Yeah, I like
Yep.
that.
Um, I will go back on the topic of Artifactory. I forgot one item here that I will add. Second day of January, there is an easy Azure credential. This one is for Hervé. Oh, sorry. I tapped too much keystroke at the same time. Sorry, I'm back to the screen. Okay. The Packer build image, the credential used by Packer in Infra CI to connect to Azure spin up machines, provision them, and then export them. That thing expire, we will have an automated pair. That's an easy one. So this one is most probably for Hervé and Jay. They maybe Jay. We'll see because it will be during holidays, so maybe worth having Hervé doing it as part of the three others before the holidays. Hervé and I will sync on this one later. We have one last, still in Artifactory. Thanks, Mark, for putting your personal PayPal in that thing. I forgot about that, but you mentioned it. So thanks. I hope you will be reimbursed.
It
Um, uh,
reminds me I need to submit the reimbursement. I won't be reimbursed if I don't actually submit the reimbursement.
Fair. Um, so we have the new certificate. We already have the new 1 year certificate. I've opened an issue that is in triage about that topic. The required action is getting the certificate where it is located and then upload it in Artifactory in the MyGFrog backend administration. I believe that's a good exercise for Hervé because that will force us to set him his account on JFrog. You don't need to be admin to change the certificate. We can use the
What?
JFrog. That's new from last year. I don't know if you remember. The GoDaddy account, we have created a shared account with 2FA, so we can retrieve the certificate if Hervé has the access to the subs encrypted share.p. Then I have to create once an account for Hervé, so he can retrieve the metrics from JFrog, downloads, bandwidth, and storage, and he can access and manage, like you, Mark, the certificates. We confirm that the access was okay for Stefan without putting him admin, and that's the same for you. So
Okay.
I propose we go that way if Hervé you don't object, so that will give you way more ability to manage the platform, and that could be a great exercise here.
Thank you.
No objection?
I had completely forgotten that that was even possible. That's wonderful. That sounds great. Thanks, Hervé, for being willing.
Can proceed here. Cool. A lot of work for Hervé and less work for me. I mean, I'm good with that. That's all on the upcoming credentials, but that was also the topic of being able to administrate the platform without requiring them in. Any other question on this, or can I move to the next step? Okay, so reminder, next major event, FOSDEM, end of January, beginning of February. We have a booth, discussion for topics. We will have a contributor summit, and we are working on the list of people who can get there and be funded by the Jenkins project. Did I miss something? And there are new things to add on the FOSDEM area. Okay, so then cloud budgets. Azure CDF, we are good. We are still in a bit below the expected threshold, so that's good. We will end the year with less consumption than what has been allowed for by CDF for us, so that's good. We had at the end of the month of November 9K available based on what we were allowed to consume, which mean even at 6K we still have 3K not consumed. We will even have a bit less. So these are good, really good news. Just a note on the Azure thing, because that start to be important and we need to put some pressure on Alex Brandes. I'm sorry, Alex, but I still cannot do anything. I have issues and only you have access to the support. It starts to be more than important. We have 2 weeks. If before Christmas we are not able to create a subscription that we can manage, that will put the project at risk.
Thanks. Yeah, so Alex has been sick he missed the board meeting yesterday, I suspect because
Oh,
of
yep,
sickness, but
explain.
understood that we've got a time crunch and we really
Yep,
do have a deadline approaching that we need to deal with. Great.
yep. And right
Thanks.
now, my Azure support request have been refused because I'm not the person who has claimed the credits. So he has to contact support so they can do whatever they have to do to create a new subscription.
Okay.
I don't mind contacting the CDF as soon as possible for the credit card with minimum account as we proposed, but right now we need first to validate it's worth the effort.
Right. Yeah. So just ask Alex again. Let's see if he's
Yep,
feeling healthy enough to be back. I know
cool.
he was supposed to lead the governance board meeting yesterday, but was out sick, I think, and was unable to
Okay,
even
so
attend. So,
that explains. So I hope he will get in better shape. But yeah,
yeah.
we start to have an emergency here. So yeah, thanks, Mark. Digital on everything is good. I've sent the request for sponsoring. I haven't heard back from them, so we'll send a reminder this week. Everyone in the Jenkins Infra team mailing list should have received the mail because it's you in CC. So I guess we don't have a lot of more things here. We have 1 year of credit still there. So as a reminder, I just ask for expiration date extension. Cloud-based AWS. Yep, we consume less because we have less resources. PKG should be stopped before the end of the year. Not deleted though. We just have to be sure. And on the AWS sponsored account, that's the one we have an increase in data. So I wrote needs to be checked. Hervé, you have to check that your Windows experimentation are not running all the time or are stopped unless you use them. We have
Yes.
CI Jenkins IO DDoS, but also we need to check carefully what are the Packer leftovers because we have a lot of builds and it looks like it has leftovers. Yes, Mark?
And I thought we were also seeing an EC2 plugin bug where it was leaving
Mm, good
disconnected
point.
EC2 virtual machines lurking around. I know I've deleted several agents, and
Good
that
point.
may be increasing our costs unnecessarily just because those things don't seem to exit by themselves.
Yep, true that. It's that race condition around the way Jenkins treats the executors and keeps the machine up while not being able to. Good point. Yep, these are the
And I
two.
assume there on that one, I'll continue the delete agent thing. I visited enough. When I see it, I delete them, but I'm not doing any active programmatic, if I find one, delete it kind of thing. It's all just a human being
Yep,
mark wait.
I guess having a garbage collection can be interesting here. We could have on the EC2 API side any virtual machine which are using the CI Jenkins IO deploy key or Packer deploy key. If they are older than 6 hours, we kill them. I don't see a build that lasts on that instance more than 6 hours.
Yeah, and I see one right now, actually. I just checked ci.jenkins.io, and there's one that says the instance SSH key was unexpected. I'm going to delete the agent, and we'll let things go.
Good. Good point. Really good point. Thanks, folks. Hervé, no worries. I don't think your machine is the one that make the increase. It's
Yeah,
something
but
like,
it's still costly. It's still costing a few dollars per day. So yeah,
yep. I think it's from the top of my mind, it's between $3 to $5 daily. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's okay. We are speaking about an increase of 1K. So you're just a teeny part of that ocean, but still a good engine. JFrog, we also had in JFrog an increase in downloads. Yep. It's only on the past 3 days. So that has a high impact on the forecast because the forecast is linear. That's an average, of course. It should be lower, but yeah, for now, yep, we have consumed way more than the same day in November or in October.
Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to go ahead and update the report, see what it shows.
Good point.
I'll report back because Darren's reporting system is still running
Hmm.
and capturing daily, so I'll do a quick look.
Cool. Thanks, Mark. I don't have anything else on the cloud budget. Do you, folks?
So on the JFrog topic,
Mhm.
a week ago or so, there was an increase on an IP from a set of IP addresses that I didn't recognize. Now with today's news that we're higher, we've increased our consumption. I'll do some more digging. So there no word on the AWS Ireland heavy users, but others have come above them in the reports now.
Yep.
So we've got
Did
more
you
to
add any
investigate.
news on JFrog to help us temporarily block IPs?
None. I'll have to ask them again
Okay.
because it
I mean,
seems like that abuse report, it's now been multiple weeks with no progress, and the simplest way to fix it is just block them.
yep. I would say if JFrog doesn't come back to us, that means they are stuck in a position, in a sensitive position where they cannot ask us to do action that they don't provide feature to enforce.
Right.
So that's on their own, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
But still, watching and reporting will help us to show that we are doing that in good faith. Cool. Thanks. Let's move to the tasks. So the task we were able to finish, 3 support tasks. First, so we closed the issue about CI Jenkins IO slow pages. Of course, it went back. New issue. See below. But yeah, that was closed with no indication that it was slow since the past 4 weeks at least. So yeah, that happened. Thanks for creating the new issue that avoids to have too much data on each issue. That's easier to track. Daniel Kramer had an issue on trying to locally deploy a plugin of theirs, receiving HTTP 403 errors. Root cause is a bug in RPO. If you specify CD enabled false, because it looks like they wanted to try enabling CD and then say, oh, I don't want it. That doesn't fit the way I manage that plugin. Okay. So they went back to false instead of removing the lines. And it looks so I've opened a bug on RPU. If the YAML says CD enable false, somehow it doesn't fail. It doesn't print a message, but it doesn't create the group and permissions on Artifactory. It creates the what I call the repository, the virtual repository, but it doesn't have any permission except from admins. Removing CD enable false and letting RPO run fix the problem. So the infrastructure were good and the issue has been reported. So if you see a user complaining about 403, especially when they didn't change anything on Maven side, authentication happens. You can look on the permission Artifactory or the build logs, and that most probably means an RPU, they have to change the YAML file to fix the problem. We can do it, but usually that's better to have the user knowing the problem. So thanks, Daniel. Thanks, team, for the help. The issue has been closed and the bug has been reported. Are there any questions on this one? Cool. Just for the sake of sharing, there's been also discussion on the usage of CD. Mainly two main patterns here in Daniel usage. Why does he wants to disable CD? So he acknowledged the safety of the credentials. However, when he works on a feature and he merge it, and then he wants to use feature branches, it means that as soon as the feature has been released, you have a CD update and the plugin is published. And sometimes you want to delay to group some features in order to have a release policy. So CD is a blocker or slower down on this one. I'm not sure about the solution. I suggested maybe having a develop branch, even
Yeah,
though
I think
I'm
that's
not
the
a yeah.
that's the
Sorry, go ahead.
simplest solution. That is truly the simplest solution. Then merge the develop branch to the primary branch
To
when you're
control when
ready
you
to
want
release. Yeah,
exactly.
if you really need to do that. What my experience has been that I actually don't need to do that. So long as I label the pull request properly, I don't get the spurious releases that he was alluding to.
Yeah, Tim pointed him to the hey, use the proper label eventually, but he also underlined the high frequency of minor dependabot or any updates.
Which
Okay.
do not result in a release. Dependency updates do not result in a release by default.
Oh, looks like that's what he thinks. So is it
And
is it because there's been a misconfiguration issue, or is it
possibly,
because he think but that's not how reality is? I don't know.
right. Whichever of those it is, the reality is dependency updates do not, by default, generate a release. I just did it yesterday. I have to explicitly label an important dependency update as something different than a default one in order to get a release.
Agreed. Okay, so my thought is not we don't have to reconsider CD, quite the opposite, but maybe documentation and help can be improved for me. It's that area. Next step. So that's all for that issue. Any other question? Okay, next one. We have an issue tracker redirector service as part of the migration of Jira issue to GitHub. We needed a way to have redirection in a smart way, like, hey, is that issue expected to be in Jira, then redirect to Jira? Or has it been migrated to GitHub, so then redirect to the right GitHub with the right mapping, because the IDs are not the same. Yes, Mark?
Could you give a brief overview for my benefit? So is that a Kubernetes, a service sitting in our Kubernetes cluster?
Yep.
That it's an Nginx? Just give a two or three sentences summary.
Yep. So that's an Nginx service, which Docker image has a generated Nginx configuration file, a big one, like 2.5 megabytes, that is generated by a script with the right list of right mapping.
Okay, so it has in the Nginx config, it has the mapping from old Jira location, URL, etc., to new GitHub issue.
Exactly.
And it's one by one by one. Great. Okay.
Yep.
So as we do more migrations, it will get bigger, but I assume Nginx is not going to panic over the fact that we've got a very large configuration file.
No, clearly not.
Okay, great.
The,
Um,
yep, Hervé, go ahead.
Finish, and I'll add some details after.
Oh, okay.
That, okay. But yeah, it's generated. That's the main, from infrastructure point of view. The problem is adding this on Jenkins IO generates big files. And yeah, redirection through an HTML file, it's not really W3C compliant.
Well, and
Uh,
and Nginx is designed to do redirect, right? So
yeah,
using the web server to do redirect instead of web pages to do redirect just makes sense.
exactly. But allowing Jenkins.io website to have one way or the other generation of the configuration files mean opening the ability for Jenkins.io contributors to eventually insert configuration in the production website, which is absolutely no way we want that.
Right. Good.
That's why after discussion and many ideas and exchanges, team proposed the redirector service. That's a dedicated web server. And since it's its own Docker image, that means the infrastructure owns it, and any pull request can check that the configuration file has been changed and be audited. It's not, the audit is not as easy as I would have thought because it's generated. However, we control who can push the data, and usually it's either a bot that we control or Team Jacom. So if team account has been compromised, we have another range of problems to solve.
I'm planning to contribute on my own time on putting in place a service to migrate plugin more easily from a component name.
A
What
service?
Sorry,
Yeah,
could you say that again, Hervé?
in RPU, having something in the repository permission updater, having something that allow to easily migrate say plugins. Because right now, team is making the upgrade one by one and updating the mapping, then RPU.
Got
So
it.
he has to do some task he's doing, and it's also the subject of another help desk he opened before.
Got
But
it. So that's
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 not
the Jira
from
to GitHub issues transition that he's
yeah.
doing interactively now, or he's doing with some manual work. You see us automating even more, and with
Then
2,000 plugins to eventually migrate, I could see that.
it's not infra related really. But
Got it.
uh, what I can also add is now the redirection service is integrated in the importer tool. So it automatically use issue redirect link into the imported issue.
Hmm.
And I also updated the relief drafter of the Jenkins CI organization to rewrite the Jenkins key to use the redirection service. But again, not really infra related, but just mentioning that since it was a subject.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, folks?
Now, yes.
Okay, sorry, internet looks in a
Yes.
bad shape here. Okay, sorry. At first sight, I'm scared about automating such a task because it requires high permissions. Team
Yeah, but
has high permissions, you and I will have.
no, it won't. I was thinking
I
about
don't
using the
see,
existing token we have already have Jira token and GitHub token in RPU. So it was more like that, using the existing token.
okay, but you cannot test it in
I
CI
can
Jenkins Ego because we
I
only
can
have
I can test
a
the
fake
export of
token that
Jira.
only runs on trusted CI. It's
Yeah.
forbidden to run it on infra CI at all.
Yeah. So, but to test, I don't need any token to export issue, and I can test on my own organization. So I can
Okay.
test most of the process on my own without using any credential from
Mhm.
Jenkins CI or Jira. 。 . 。 。 。 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
Okay, but yeah, that means the automation will most probably be a script that people have to run on their machine.
That's the first part I will
That's
show
not
you that.
something we can do on self-service. And yep, but the self-service things for end user seems really dangerous here, given the amount of permissions that are required to be done, even on RPU. RPU is already too much because we
Okay.
don't have fine-grained token. Everything is manual, so that looks really risky in terms of permissions here. At least for a public web service that people could try to hack and remove,
Oh,
because
it would have
that
been
gives a lot of
from
things.
what I had in
Maybe they
mind.
could be
Yeah, it would have been from a pull request on RPU, something like that, with trusted user can run the pipeline only and this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not for today. It's not
RP,
for.
pull request on RPU. No, again, it's not. It's systematically impossible because pull request on RPU doesn't test with production credential. It's only fake
Okay.
credential
I,
or read
uh,
only.
I won't take more time. I was just saying that I'm looking at something. The first step is, like you said, a script for someone to execute. The next we'll see later if it's uh, completely too dangerous, and if so, it will stay as a script.
Yeah. Yeah, if we
Again,
if we help
automation
Tim a
is a good
little,
thing, as you
yeah, if
described.
we help Tim a
Yep.
little, that's a positive, right? That's
Yeah.
that's a real,
Exact.
at
Absolutely.
least for plugin maintainers like me, that's a real positive. If we help Tim even a little, that's great.
I agree. And your first proposal, first step survey is absolutely good and useful. Thanks. On the other tasks, we were able to remove tool env. I don't know how you say it in English. The name of that old plugin. That the feature provided by that plugin are not needed anywhere. The last real user was the Update Center freestyle job on Trusted CI, and we replaced the plugin by Java home underscore slash opt GDK1 in the freestyle line, and we're done. So yeah, the context is that plugin was deemed not compliant with CSP policy rules that Daniel asked us to apply. There are other plugins to review, but at least that one has been done. So thanks, Jay, thanks, Hervé, and thanks, Daniel, on this one. And we also were able to remove CSP plugin. Thanks, Mark, for pointing out the right element. Sorry for the mess up last week. And Jay was able to update Infra CI with removal of CSP and the new setup. So yep, I think we are good on that area, if I'm not mistaken. Finally, we had an issue closed as a user was using a really old LTS and was complaining that the update center wasn't providing the right version. Which means effectively, if you have an LTS version older than 1 year, I guess you cannot update your plugins anymore if they are non-compatible elements.
And it's been that way for 10 plus years.
Yep.
And we've documented that, so I feel no guilt at that. It's your choices are simple. You either upgrade to a current Jenkins version or you stop updating plugins. Saying I'm going to run a 2 year old Jenkins version and update plugins will eventually break you.
And the big red alert on the top right that say your Jenkins version is outdated, you should upgrade because that list of CVEs,
Will
that should
just
give
keep
you a clue.
growing. Right. Right. And in
Yep.
that user's case, there were what, five, I think, five CVEs that were open
Yep.
in that. So it's clearly reason to upgrade.
Okay, that's all for the closed tasks. Are there questions or things missed, or could I just jump to the work in progress? Okay, cool. So work in progress. PKG migration, which is currently delayed and blocked by the security advisory tomorrow, and Kubernetes 1.33. Okay, I've totally lost the internet. My back. Can you can you hear me? Okay, there is something really
Yeah,
wrong
we can hear
here.
you just fine.
Sorry. Okay, cool. So we have the credential part, which Hervé and I are working step by step. That was blocking Kubernetes 1.33. Um, we have the new issue about CI Jenkins that we will resume. Blocked this one. So Hervé, can you give us a heads up on the Kubernetes 1.33, please?
So Jay updated the CI.jenkins.io agent EKS cluster last week with success. And we updated the Infra CI agent IKS cluster yesterday. We'll wait for the end of the LTS release tomorrow to resume the work on upgrading the last two clusters, which are private K8s, where we have, for example, infra.ci.jenkins.io, and then the public K8s with public announcement as it's hosting all our public services.
So it looks like we may have lost Damien while he's reconnecting. I'm going to borrow some time. Oh, you're
Yeah,
back, Damien. I'll
sorry.
stop borrowing.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I seems to have a Wi-Fi issue. So quickly about Kubernetes, what is we haven't discussed yet the when do we want to do the public gates? Just a reminder, wherever you must have this in mind. We usually require 2 days prior to update
Yeah,
it. It's not.
yeah,
I
that's why I
realized this morning
mentioned.
it's not written.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the public announcement. I had that in mind that we have to plan that in advance, announce that in advance, far in advance.
Okay, so I guess that means next week, Monday or Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have a lot of available slot before the holidays.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
Damien,
okay.
can we
Yep.
put into the work in progress JFrog again? I just did the analysis, and we've got a new abuser. I'll file an AWS abuse report. What is Amazon AES? Is that a particular area of the world that I should think of? And if you don't know, that's okay.
I don't know AES, never heard. Isn't
Okay,
that
I'll.
their new AI
I
stuff service they announced
I
at
have
reInvent
no
last week?
idea. I will do the research. If it's just we've got a new abuser. That new abuser shows up in the just as you said, Damien, in the last few days. So we've got heavy use from them on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 8th of December, and they've consumed already 800 gigabytes in those 4 days. 1.4 million downloads. And so sorry, there aren't 1.4 million artifacts in the entire thing. And if they're cloning our entire thing, they're making a mistake. So we're being abused, and I'll raise an abuse report with AWS.
Thanks. On the next issue, so uh, today we'll be focused on the staging for PKG, but we have a bunch of permission access that need to be granted and documented to Hervé and Jay. We have already started at work. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow, we will most probably spend time on this. The Kubernetes upgrade part has been done, Hervé, if I'm not mistaken, but we need to document it now. Is that correct?
Yes, I need to detail all account I needed. It's a work in progress list. But yes,
Okay, so new permissions are effective, but needs to be documented. Okay. And for the Cloudflare part to be done tomorrow, the goal is to have Hervé rerunning the update center credential rotation on Cloudflare. Like I did it last week to avoid expiration, and Hervé will redo it so we know that he can do it without me. But that requires a few more other elements and improvements. We have a bunch of delayed issues. Whether because they are not deemed prior or they have requirements such as a security advisory. So garbage collection is part of this. The CSP part, because we did the updates and we are waiting for advisory to continue. Same for the bad links. Oh, I haven't closed the rotation Cloudflare I just mentioned because I'm waiting for Hervé to run it before closing it as a success. The usual cron updates that will be joined by the proposal we made about garbage collecting EC2 instances, agent instances, will be there. And the setup job is also part of the delay. The bomb is part of the garbage, so delayed. There's not much to tell about it. We have two issues about the migration of Jenkins issues from Jira to GitHub. That's on the team part. Yep, that one is delayed because, yep, missing time as well. I haven't had the time to triage. Hervé, you had the Windows 2025 part, which is in progress.
yes.
What's the status on this one?
Um, we have a still issue with most probably the Tom folder with a non function or some error like that. That I'm currently looking at working. I tried with setting Docker temp to the Docker daemon, but I need to continue my test, and it's still failing either on the Nano server or the Windows Server Core image. It's, yeah, I've got
Okay.
some deal passing, but most of them have one or the other image failing.
Okay. Um, what do you think if we say that we have too many elements here that show it's not that easy, and we split the task? First, we finish the 2025 new agent, and then we work on having 2022 and 2025 with 25 as the default one, and then we optimize the costs with the experiment you are working on, so we can at least deliver something and move on that part. What do you
We
think?
mean giving up temporarily on the on the local LM and VME drive, custom data drive.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah,
We can, I propose we finish the experiment, at least for this milestone, if you have time. And next
yeah,
week we start splitting the task in different deliverables. Are you okay
yeah,
with that?
yes.
Okay. So no decision today. Let's continue with the TMP part to see if it solved the issue in a safe way or not. Is that okay for you? Okay. Um, so two other delayed issues. One will be solved after the LTS release. So of course, release CI is the main one. We have staging that should work. There will be two things to implement now in this one before being able to move PKG out of AWS. I will document. We will need to implement fastly decache on PKG origin Jenkins.io at the end of the packaging process. Today, the packaging process only decache Jenkins.io. We weren't able to decache PKG itself because we had to be sure that at least one mirror was serving the new packages before unpackaging the index. Now that everything is done on the same time with the staging promotion system, What will happen tomorrow is that in the 15-minute following promotion, or unless we manually decache the whole website, the Debian users or Red Hat user will see a message about index still being updated. We see that on others such as HashiCorp from time to time. It's because we have not uncached on Fastly. That can be automated. It's not done for tomorrow because it's a security advisory and that will be the first time we give the promotion. So I chose to decide to have the whole thing cached on Fastly. And so we will only uncache once we will have tested that the delivery of promotion is okay end to end. That's why it's not integrated yet. The rest is also delayed. I don't have other issues that are deemed mandatory except the one described by Hervé and this one that I just described. Are there other elements, folks, that you have on the work in progress that I could have forgotten?
No.
Okay, regarding the new issues to triage. I only have the TLS certificate expiration to put on the new milestone. The rest for me is on backlog. Do you agree, or do you have topics you want to bring on the new milestone or on the triage discussion?
No.
Cool. I think that's all for today. Are there anything else you want to discuss as part of this recorded meeting?
No, good, thanks.
Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna stop recording, finish correctly writing this note and publishing them with the recording. So I won't see you next week and not in the 2 next week. So see you next year for people watching recording, and for the others, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.